All right, we're gonna get started real quick on this. In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how I make and assemble these full extension drawers with soft close undermount Blum drawer slides. All right, guys, let's get started right away. We got a lot of work to do. All right, so we're grabbing a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood from the plywood rack that I have against the wall, and it's much lighter than 3/4, so it's easier for me to just take it and throw it on the saw. I don't have to worry about using the plywood cart for this. So I start off by ripping a straight line on one edge, and then I push it up against the fence to the dimensions that I need for the sides of the box, which is basically the height of the drawer box, and that's what I'm ripping all the pieces to right now. These are rather large drawers. They're very deep. These are almost 12 inches deep, these drawers. And they are pretty wide because each one of these cabinets is roughly around 23 inches on the inner dimensions here. So pretty big drawers for this closet system here. Once everything is ripped to the width, I need to cross cut all the pieces to length. So I'll just set that up on the sliding part of the table saw. And I moved my rip fence back. It's an adjustable rip fence. You can actually loosen the fence and pull it back, and that acts as a stop block. But since it's behind the blade at the point where you pull it back, there's no chance of any binding or any danger of any kickback for that reason. Once I have everything cross-cut to the length and it's already ripped to the width, I'm just going to take my time and go through each piece, mark where I want to put the groove. And that 1/4 inch groove that I'm going to put in these drawer sides is going to be to house the bottom of the drawer using 1/4 inch pre-finished ply. So what I'm doing now is setting up the height of the blade. I always go by the manufacturer's specs for the drawer slides when I'm making the drawer boxes. So the groove's got to be 13 millimeters from the bottom of the drawer up, using the Tandem Blum undermount drawer slides. So it's basically a standard. It's always 13 millimeters up from the bottom, and that's for the clearance of the parts of that drawer slide. And then I do a quick check to make sure that the 1/4 inch bottom fits perfectly. Since it's 12 millimeter plywood, I do a 6 millimeter deep groove. And then I raise the blade also and cut off the bottoms of the backs of the drawers so that I can actually install those slides later, and you'll see how I do that. And then I just bring everything over to the workbench, and it's time to start doing some layout for the front, sides, and back. This way I don't get turned around when I'm assembling these. Okay, so I got all the parts laid out, and there's tons of ways that you can assemble drawers. The way I like to do it, and the way I've been doing it for years, is when I'm using 1/2 inch material like this, I assemble it with, especially when it's pre-finished, I use a product called Rue Glue. Rue Glue will stick to melamine and pre-finished non-porous materials. You can't use regular wood glue for this because, yeah, on the side that's not finished, which is the end grain over here, the cut edge, it will stick to that, but it won't stick to this. So if you use the Rue Glue, it will connect these two and make a strong enough bond where you can use 1.25 inch, since it's 1/2 inch material, 1.25 inch brad nails to tack it all in place. Plenty strong. I've never had a failure, and I've been building drawers for years on end, all different kinds. And when I use 3/4 material, I think it's easier to use pocket screws and tack nail it, no glue, pocket screws. With the 1/2 inch material, Rue Glue, and the brad nails. Now, I recently just started using the Rue Glue because before that, what I was doing was I was taking a piece of sandpaper and I was actually sanding off about 11 or 12 millimeters of the pre-finished area on the drawer boxes, and what that was doing was allowing me to use the regular wood glue, but it just took up more time to do it that way, and I said, why not just get the Rue Glue, which is made for this, and then I can just assemble it without having to take the extra time to sand off that pre-finished area. So what I do is I just get everything lined up, and then I tack it in with some 18 gauge 1.25 brad nails. You can use 1 inch for this. The 1.25, it gives you just a little more holding power, I feel. And I've been doing this for years, and like I said, I never had a failure, and so I trust it. And I always go with what I trust and what I know, so that I don't have any future failures with anything that I do. So you always got to go with the devil you know. So if this has been working for you, don't change it. Just do what you're doing. So just flip up the drawer now and install the back. And that's why I cut off the back portion's groove so that I could just slide the back right in. And not only does that make it removable, but it also allows me not to have to cut notches for what you'll see, the anti-tip mechanism in the backs of the drawer slides. Because if you do a solid back and you encapsulate the bottom, well, then you're going to have to cut notches out in the back of the drawer. So I'm just going to set up these low-profile bench stops here. Those are from TSO. I'll put a link in the description for that. I have an affiliate with TSO. And I'm using the Blum jig to install, not only drill the hole in the back for the anti-tip levers, but also to pre-drill pilot holes for this, the front clips here.
So this is a little close-up of the jig, and the way it works is you just slide it right over the side, and you see how that it fits right where the notch would normally be. That's why I cut that piece off in the back, and then you just drill a hole in the back to the actual depth stop that you have on the drill, which you can set up with that jig. And you flip the jig over and you put it in the corners of the fronts of the bottom of the drill, and you pre-drill these pilot holes, and that's how you attach the clips. A different angle in a couple of seconds here, a little closer so you can see a little bit more in depth, but this jig definitely makes installing all this hardware much easier. And if you do as much drawers as I do for cabinetry, then it's definitely worth having. If you are interested in a further in-detail video on exactly how to build these drawers step by step, I do have videos on my channel, not only how to build the drawer boxes step by step, but also how to install these undermount drawer slides step by step as well.
Okay, so the drawers are done, ready to install them. This is the moment of truth right here. This is where the rubber meets the road. You got to make sure everything is perfect so you can clip these drawers in. So these are the ladder toe kicks. I built these the other day off camera. And what I'm going to do is just stack these to the side, get them out of my way because I can't install the drawers if they're sitting here because the cabinets should be sitting on top of these toe kicks. Okay, so I have all the drawers set up on the table saw, just getting them out of my way. Now, if you followed your manufacturer's specs, then everything should just fit right in, slide right on top of those drawer slides, and then when you push it all the way back, it'll engage the anti-tip pins or the leveling pins also in the back, as you can make those adjustments with those pins. And then in the front, the clips will engage just like that. And then you make sure your pins are engaged, trying to pull up the back, and then you have your soft close. So now, I'm just going to continue to pull these off one by one and get them installed. Okay, so full extension, full 18 inches. This is a 20-inch deep closet carcass. So you got 20 inches depth of the cabinet and then 18 inches so that you have, you actually have an inch of space in the back. Yeah, it's a 19-inch deep with the back installed because the back is recessed in the groove with nailers in the back. If you were doing a full applied back where it was just screwed onto the back of the carcass and not embedded in here in the grooves, and you would have a full 20 inches interior, but it's not really needed because most hangers are only about 12 inches. So once we put the poles in here, we're gonna have plenty of room, plenty of space on both sides of those hangers to hang the clothes. And then you can fit, you know, little sweaters and socks and underwear and all kinds of crazy stuff there on the bottom. Now, if you're looking at this and you're saying, what about all that space up there? Well, this has to get a big drawer front, obviously, to cover it, but there's no need to actually try and fill up this entire area. You could if you want. You have to leave anywhere between like I think like a half an inch to an inch, or even maybe the minimum specs for the Blum undermount slides are quarter inch, but there's no reason to go. I mean, these are 11.5-inch drawer boxes. So if you fill every single one of these up, now mind you, this is only one section of this closet. There's going to be another 3 walls kind of just like this. So the amazing amount of storage, plus an island in the middle. So we're going to be doing a lot of work in this closet. So there's going to be endless storage on this thing. So you get the shelves up top also. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more on this channel to come. I do have a video, a dedicated video where I make drawer boxes and explain it step by step. And I have another video on installing the undermount drawer slides. And if you don't want to do undermount drawer slides because they are quite expensive, I have another video where I show you how to install side mount drawer slides. So plenty of videos to choose from. All right, guys, I hope you guys will join me next time. Thanks for joining me this time in the shop. We have a lot more to do. I think in the next video, we're going to be tackling all of the doors. I'll make the doors and the drawer fronts, and we'll do that on the shaper, and I'll show you how that works. And stick around for that because it's going to be real cool. We're using solid maple for the stiles and rails like I always do. 1/4 inch MDF panel for the center because it's paint grade. All right, guys, so I'll see you next time.